Parang we get into like a deeper understanding of the news. Although again, 50 minutes is both long and short depending on how you look at it. Parang it's short in the sense na maraming nangyayari sa mundo. It's impossible to compress in 50 minutes. But it's long in the sense that 50 minutes online is a long time. Pag nanonood tayo ng video sa Facebook or YouTube, 10 seconds, 30 seconds. So to hold someone's attention for 50 minutes, that's already a big deal. And then beyond that, we also want to tap into other important aspects of our life online, which have to do with culture, which have to do with lifestyle, and getting inspired, and finding out what's going on in the Filipino music scene. So hopefully we can all bring that together into one coherent platform, so that it's kind of like a one-stop shop for everything that you need to know today.
Thank you. Hi, Joyce. First off, ang dami-dami mo nang ginagawa. You have your own show. I mean, you're doing a lot outside GMA also. Where are you finding time for this? And can you tell us like a little backgrounder on what's going to be in your part of the program?
Thank you for that question. And that's a constant question that I'm being asked. I honestly don't know where to find the time anymore. I usually spend my days where I would just get 3 or 4 hours of sleep because I do unang hirit every day.
In the car.
Yes, that's in the car, precisely. And sometimes my day would go, sorry, nagkwento na ako. Unang hirit, shoot in between an event at night, and then diretso na ako unang hirit ulit. But I think I also set certain rules with my management and with myself na this day I dedicate to shooting for my podcast and for the vlog and for social media. This day I set to just go to church and be with my family and with friends. And so I have personal block-offs talaga. And the holy grail of anything when it comes to multitasking is really finding the right schedule and knowing your priorities, I think. And luckily, and I'm so blessed to say that I have a great team behind me. As with Stand for Truth, if I may correlate, it's not a one-man team. You can't ever bring together a great big show or an innovation or a big dream with just one person being the front runner. Well, there will always be a face, syempre, diba? Pero it's really a teamwork. So that's how I find the time. And with this, actually, mahirap din yung segment ko kasi hindi ako in the studio. I'll be going to gigs. I go to events. So mamaya po, diretso ko after nitong vlog ko natin. Diretso ko sa Pampanga for the Hot Air Balloon Festival because some of the 3 bands that we will be featuring for Stand for Truth, they're playing there. And I did a shoot already. I have 4 Spades. We went to the band rehearsals. I did Sud. I went to the gig in Sagiho. So, medyo kagulo talaga siya. But as Adam said, there always has to be a balance with everything. We want to be able to talk about the things that are going on in culture and pop culture and music, which are also very interesting. So, there.
And would that require you to actually interview them in them? Or?
I interview them. So what we do with the segment is maybe we have like 2 songs that we get to tape and then we play that on the show. And we also have a segment where I ask them a lot of interesting, hopefully, questions.
Will you be working with one of these guys and gals?
I'm not sure, but that's a great idea. Maybe one of these days we get to, collaborate with them. I actually also write my own questions and how I do my interviews, so it would be great to work with a young reporters.
So is it right to actually assume that they're mostly going to be in the reportage rather than in a segment, which is pretty much like lifestyle-ish?
Mine kasi it's more on feature and lifestyle, technology, culture, music, really a lot of music related stuff. So I'm guessing a lot of the reports and will be coming from them. But it's nice. I think that's what Atom and Richard were saying kanina. It's a constantly evolving concept. Since this is the first ever digital newscast that GMA News and Public Affairs is offering, there are a lot of spaces for us to change and to kind of figure out ano bang gagawin natin dito. And I think also you guys might agree with me that that's the beauty of social media. There are no set rules as to how you're supposed to make content. what's right and what's wrong. It's really just about trying out this new creative thing, trying out this other creative thing, and then figuring out what really works best for your audience and for yourself.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Philippines.
Thank you very much.
Questions? Do you have any more questions? Kate is from Random.
Curious about the work of the online recorders. Would you be having your own crew or would you be using your mobile phones when you're
I'm probably the best person to answer that because I actually have the tool. By the way, my name is Ardo Mirabalias. So yes, this is our, what we call our Mojo kit. Mojo standing for mobile journalist or mobile journalism. So it's just us, basically us 10 individually spread all over the Philippines, doing our own beats, just carrying this.
So that you won't be assigned specific beats or beats?
I think the correct answer to that is we have our strengths and our specializations, but we're also open, given that, again, they've always mentioned it, harped about this, it's evolving. So whatever gets sent our way, as long as we think it is newsworthy and that news will count, and of course, with the tenets that it stands for truth, then we're definitely going to do it.
Thank you. For Apple. Yes. Since you're more senior than the reporters, what would be something you learned from your previous coverages that you would want to impart on it?
A lot of it really is just accumulating various experiences in the field. It's hard to identify one lesson that would be the most important. But the harder the story is, the more interesting it becomes. Siguro just to reiterate that it's the difficult stories that are the most interesting and have the most impact. When the access becomes difficult, when there's a certain level of risk involved, of course, we always say that safety first, and there are no stories worth dying for. But then again, it's a reality that some people don't like certain information out there, so they make it very difficult on journalists to get that information. But sometimes that information is important. It's important for the interest of the public. So siguro yun, parang it takes a lot of grit and determination, and it's a daily struggle. Like you have to motivate yourself every day. But it's also quite fun. I think maraming mga moments na may madidiscover kang bagong kainan kasi habang nag-field duty kayo, kita mo dahil nakapark na taxi doon, so parang masarap kumain dito. Ganun. So you become a master of the urban landscape. Yeah, and you have a lot of stories to tell with your friends. When there's a reunion, you might not have the best looking car, but you have the best stories.
Thank you.
Sir, for the GMA News team, so lately yung GMA, especially yung News and Public Affairs, naging active siya online, di ba? May mga exclusive shows na ni-launch na sa YouTube lang mapapanood. May plano po ba kayo na magkaroon ng na special app wherein like yung sa Aywang Tangkabila na para lahat ng mga exclusive shows, mga na-miss naming episodes sa GMA, doon na namin lahat papanoorin. Di ba? Did you plan po ba na magkaroon ng app?
That's really not on our level, I suppose. It's a good idea. There are pros and cons, I should say. But for this program, our partner is YouTube. YouTube has tremendous reach. So, parang why reinvent the wheel in a way? Because it's already existing, and they're great partners. But I'm sure that's something na pinag-aaralan din ng management.
Okay. And then para po dun sa mga correspondents, paano po yung assignment yun ng mga news? Meron bang mga naka-assign sa inyo? Halimbawa, si ganito naka-assign lang sa topic na technology, si ganito naman lifestyle. So how do you get the topics ba na ipipicture sa news? Or kahit ano yung gusto nyo ipasa? So paano, may mga particular assignments ba kayo?
Hi. So, dalawa yung system namin. The first one is we are encouraged to pitch every day or kahit multiple times a day. So, whatever we see or come across na feeling namin, uy, pwede itong maging story relevant to sa millennials. We just, ibabato lang namin siya sa group chat namin. Parang ganun. And then, what happens is, because we've been together for quite a while, all 10 of us, medyo kabisado namin, ito, parang magaling si Manal dito, magaling si Edward dito. So, in that way, we get to parang find stories for each other and ourselves. Tapos syempre, yung mga bosses, nag-assign din sila. I think this would be good for this person, that person. So it's not really strictly may beats kami, but more of finding stories everywhere and then finding someone who fits the story best.
Okay.
If I may add, it's not the typical newscast. For example, na may lead reporters, right? And the newscasts have a luxury of running time. Some go for for an hour, di ba? So sa kanila pasado yung mga stories na he said, she said stories. Pero kami will be different when it comes to treatment, with editing and perspective, because most of us are using our mobile phones and we are immersed in some stories depende sa mga kwento. So definitely yung mapapanood ninyo, hindi siya about sa isang boring hearing, pero we can make a hearing story very interesting.
And also para sa correspondence din, paano po yung engagement nyo dito sa show? Parang full-time po ba kayo for 3 months na nandito? Or you could do it part-time na may iba pa kayong job? Or talagang dedicated kayo dito 100%? Paano engagement nyo?
Yeah, we're dedicating our time for the show. In fact, di na nga kami makakatulog kahit isip ng storya, kahit isip ng visuals namin. Anong visuals nito? Kasi, this is a very visual platform, so hindi lang enough na may magandang content ka. Kailangan mo compelling din yung visuals mo. And we're learning from people like you, storytellers like you. Pinapanood namin yung mga videos ninyo, yung mga best examples and best practices. Pinag-aaralan namin to come up with really, what's the proper word? I think, hybrid treatment para sa aming stories. It's not enough that we only have the facts. It's also important that we present it in a way that we would engage our target audience, which is the minute.
Okay. And sige.
Okay. And to add to what everyone else has just said, it's going to be a concise, quick show. It's not going to be a parking lot for stories just to dump anything just so there's something we can air or publish online. So since we only have 15 minutes, and some of our stories will last only a minute long, 3 minutes long, or maybe at most 5 minutes long. We need to discover the angles that would make it interesting for millennials to watch within this challenging attention span. Especially when people just scroll through their news feeds. They only watch clips that are 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes long. So you have to be concise. You have to be short but simple, but direct to the point, and yet at the same time very engaging, shocking, if you will, to our viewers. Yeah, but we will still adhere to the same code of ethics, the same ethical standards that our colleagues at the GMA News and Public Affairs departments have strictly and faithfully adhered to.
Okay. Yeah. And one last na lang. How about yung exclusivity nyo? Okay rin ba kayong gumawa ng sarili nyong may mga videos or maging active sa or exclusive lang talaga kayo for Stanford? Exclusive pa nun.
Ito may sumasagot.
Okay.
Thanks signed a contract and just like like sina Atom, sina Hilaria, sorry, Rich, right? And all of the journalists in GMA are not allowed to engage in any other racket.
Okay.
So they have, some of them are bloggers and vloggers, so they have to stop that.
Oh.
Kasi nga, we don't want our integrity to be questioned,
Yes.
our biases, so we always have to maintain that standard. So they are ours.
Okay.
For 3 months.
For 3 months.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you pa.
Thank you,
Thank you. Thank you.
And last question.
Thank you.
Bloggers? You have any questions? Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Hi, Flores Rosa from Manila. Ang tanong ko lang, Ash, first, I was kind of interested, how was this pitch to YouTube? Kasi there's also a possibility that you could have an online newscast and have it on Facebook exclusively, but why YouTube? And how was this pitch since this is also an innovation fund recipient?
Yeah, I don't think we're the best person to ask for those details. I would refer you to Brian or Ma'am Brandy.
How was this pitch po?
Hindi na sinasa. What happened? What's the question?
How was this pitch po to YouTube?
How's pitch?
Okay, there's an international competition for the YouTube Innovation Fund. So all of the partners of YouTube, everybody who produces news content was encouraged to submit. We were so excited by this concept. I felt, man, this is the chance to create the prototype of the GMA newsroom of the future. It's something that we've been thinking about, and what if we had a group of mobile journalists shooting everything on their cell phones and having a newscast with a different point of view, but we weren't able to fund it ourselves. So we submitted this pitch to YouTube just thinking, maybe we'll luck out. And we were so shocked when we got it. And we got the full funding amount. I'm not allowed to say how much, but it's enough to fund, this entire production. And we're so proud that we got it.
Thank you, Ms. Nancy. By the way, Ms. Nancy is our first Vice President for Public Affairs. Last question from... yes, sorry. Last two.
Questions naman para sa correspondence. So, for this, since you're a mobile journalist, compared to other journalists na may crew, so kayo lang talaga mag-isa going to the field, and pati rin ba sa pag-edit, sa pag-ano, lahat ba kayo mag-handle, or kahit pa paano may support system din pa kayo?
Sure, easy.
Hi, actually, sa field, yung process niyan, iba yung research kami rin. Tapos, pero meron kaming segment producer to guide us in developing the story, but more or less, kami lahat. Sa field, sinasamahan kami ng producers, pero kung wala sila, we have to do it on our own. Tapos sa editing naman, we have our editors, pero kailangan upuan din namin yung editing para ma-supervise kung yung concept na gusto namin is na a-apply doon sa visuals na ginagawa doon sa editing process.
Last one from John.
Well, my question is probably just because of the title, it's Stand for Truth. Where did that all come from? And will this touch on, of course, for the duration of your program online, it's going to be 5 weeks. 15 weeks. You're gonna touch on election day, most probably. Will you be involved in any kind of reportage when that comes into picture?
I think why stand for truth? I think this isn't an official explanation of how we came up with the title, but I guess I can just share why it resonates with me. I think it encapsulates what we want to do with the newscast, which is to try and push the boundaries in terms of how we consume information. that we're not stuck with just the bare details of what happened, but also we go that extra step, which to be honest should be automatic already, but nowadays it's not so automatic, meaning we don't really digest it, we don't really use our critical thinking to understand what that story means to us and for the larger public. So that's why it's Stand for Truth. Like, it's not just your typical newscast. I don't mean to kind of say that other newscasts are typical, but what I'm just trying to say is because of the analysis that we provide, because of the way we will structure the reports, hopefully, I'm not making any promises, obviously, but the point is that we produce something that millennials will find useful in navigating their world. Now, the second part is, what's the second question? Elections. I think it's unavoidable. If we want to become a newscast and you want to become sort of a daily digest, there's no way of escaping elections. So we will be tackling the elections. We will be making election stories. I'm part of the GMA News and Public Affairs team as a whole, so for sure there will be some assignments. But Stand for Truth as a program, I feel definitely make these election stories because, I mean, why not? And yun naman yung pinag-uusapan eh. And everybody should be informed about the run-up to the elections and the actual result of the election. So for sure that will be part of what we will tackle.
Well, in my capacity, of course, as the resident analyst, I'll be covering the election live, right? So, just like previous elections, 2016 elections. But let me just make this very clear. I think the democratic well of discourse is getting increasingly poisoned, not only in the Philippines, but around the world. And that's why someone has to, use the term, hold the line, right? And the thing is this, I think there's a big misunderstanding of what objectivity and neutrality means in the world of public affairs, or even punditry, right? So if person A says that it's raining outside, and the person B says that it's not raining outside, it's not the job of the journalist to just say, person X said that, and person Y said that. It's the job of the journalist to go outside there and look at the sky and says, oh, I'm sorry, actually it's raining, so person B doesn't make sense, right? So you have to make that stand by empirical verification of truth claims by two competing parties. So in that sense, we are the umpires of truth. And that's what we want to do in this show, that actually truth is something that we have to stand for. It takes an effort, and if we don't stand for that, the whole fabric of our politics and our democratic discourse could be poisoned and crumble into the pieces. That's why this show is important. We hope that this will not just be a kind of a seasonal event. And how I wish this happened earlier during the election period. And one of my biggest frustrations right now is that we're in one of the most important elections in generations, depending on the outcome of these elections, and ceteris paribus, the president will have supermajority, so you can completely change the constitution. That will have impact on the Philippines for generations to come. And yet, the COMELEC has not been able to organize a single debate between the two opposing parties. There has been no chance for the people to get to see basic facts and truth claims adjudicated by our future leaders or people who want to be our senators, for God's sake, right? And I think in that vacuum of adjudication of truth, it's important for us in the media, right, in the academy and thinkers to step in. And that's why this show is extremely important.
Thank you everyone. Maybe request the host to kindly invite our viewers, everyone to watch the show.
Yes. Please support us, this new endeavor of the News and Public Affairs of GMA. Stand for Truth will be premiering on April 15, that's a Monday, at 8 p.m. on GMA News Online and the YouTube channel of GMA Public Affairs. So that's going to air Monday to Friday for 15 minutes. So please spare 15 minutes of your time to join us, and hopefully we'll provide something interesting for everyone.
Just so the whole speech I gave a little bit, we need your help, right? We need to hold the line together, right? And there's no assurance this show will work. We'll do our best, but we cannot do this alone on our own, right? And at the end of the day, if we don't help each other in this, then you're gonna leave the field to the not necessarily best people. I'll just put it there, all right? That's the pitch. Help. Stand with us. Stand for it good.
And more than anything, we just would like to thank you guys for coming here today. We know that you're very busy and there are a lot of things going on. So maraming salamat po for sparing us your time. And as both Atom and Richard said already, please do check out the show. We have put our hearts into this more than anything, and it's all with good intention. And we hope that through your social media platforms as well, you can support us standing for truth as you stand with us. So maraming salamat po ulit.
Again, thank you everyone. The show premieres Monday to Friday 8 p.m. on GMA Public Affairs YouTube channel and GMAnetwork.com on April 15. So maraming salamat po sa pagpunta. If you need materials from them, just come from and your shots.